Hello and welcome to the Bestseller Experiment. We are live from Vancouver, and I'd like to introduce Shannon Mayer. So, hi, Shannon.
Hello, I know this guy, but I don't know some of you. So, hello, my name's Shannon.
Now, I want to double check to see if anyone can hear us before we start rock and rolling. I think you can see us there on the screen. So let's dive straight in. I firstly want to thank everyone for showing up tonight. We've got people in the house already. We've got Kelly, we've got JW Atkinson, Beldine, Bajutsu. Lots of you have been here with us throughout the whole day. I can't believe you are still awake. I can't believe I'm still awake. I think it's been about 48 hours. This is quite insane. But someone who isn't awake is Mark Stay. He kicked off today at, it was 10 a.m. UK time, and he is sound asleep, although he might not be, based on something that happened between the show that we're doing now and the previous show. And if some of you have been following this on Facebook, Twitter, you may notice something pretty major that happened in the last 3 hours. So we'll get to that really soon. But firstly, I just want to say massive thank you for Shannon coming along. It's been, when did we first interviewed you? Quite near the beginning of the show, didn't we?
Yeah, it was probably about this time last year when I came on and did the first podcast. It was fun. It was very enjoyable to chat with the two Marks back before they were the two Marks.
I
knew them in the beginning, people, in the beginning.
Excellent stuff. And for those of you who've been following the podcast, we have done 3 episodes with Shannon because one was just not good enough, to be honest. We found out there was so much incredible information that you told us in that first. And actually, I've got to say, Shannon was a huge inspiration for this whole project because before this project started, yeah, you're actually all to blame. It's all your fault.
I'm sorry.
If you have to blame someone, it was nothing to do with me. Shannon actually really inspired me with her story because indie authors have, I mean, when did you start all this again? It was
2011 was when I started doing my own indie publishing. But prior to that, I had attempted the traditional route as so many authors did. And I struggled with it, even though I had an agent, even though I'd done all the right things. So the indie world really opened up the possibilities for me, which was really exciting.
And it pretty much changed your life, didn't it, as
Totally.
well? Because before you started writing full time, what did you do?
I was a farrier. I shod horses for a living. So it was a very physical job. Enjoyed it. I loved the horses, loved the clients, but it was really hard and not something I could have done long term and not ended up with, back problems, hip problems, which, even with 13 years in, I still feel it. So I can only imagine longer.
Absolutely. Now, Kelly's just said to us, Shannon is chock full of great information. Thank you, Shannon.
You're very welcome, Kelly.
I've got to say, we are, if you haven't done it yet, go to the website because and Shannon doesn't know this, but we have got a blog post where we're asking people to vote for their favorite episode of the last year. And
vote for me. I win nothing, but it's great.
And I've got to announce that in the top 10 currently are Ben Aronovich, Joe Hill, Joanna Penn, who we had on a couple of weeks ago, and someone named Shannon Mayer. Awesome. So if you want to go and vote for Shannon, if you've heard our episodes, or if you haven't, you've still got time to vote because we're going to keep the polls open till the end of October when we're going to do a kind of official countdown and replay some of those episodes for everyone. Beldine, her 3 podcasts were so inspirational. Thank you so much, Belle.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it was inspirational because I remember something changed in Mr. Stay. Because Mr. Stay was a grumpy old git before we started this. I've always been this crazy optimist, and he always said, "No, it's never going to happen. Car crash, blah blah blah." You've heard the story many times, but Mark, once we put the kind of we pressed stop on the recording and you disappeared, he went, "Bloody hell." That was pretty much his reaction. He had never, I think it totally opened his eyes because Mark's worked in publishing, traditional publishing all his life. And I think actually to some extent that can be a bit of a hindrance when you're trying to move into the indie world because they are 2 different universes.
Totally different. And I've seen it with a lot of authors that have been traditionally published and done well and then chosen to go indie. And the transition is difficult because it's a totally different mindset. You're now the business owner, you're the PR person, you're the marketing person, you're the writer, you're like, it's everything. And yet in all that, it gives you the opportunity to really reach for the stars. You have complete control for good or for ill. And there's something very empowering about that, to be able to say, this is on me one way or the other. I'm either going to make it or I'm going to break it, but it's on me and I will take that. And it's why you see the indies that have succeeded and done well are willing to talk about it and want to share, because it's empowering for us too, to be able to give that back, that knowledge to other authors, and see them take it and go a step further.
Yeah, and this is the thing that's really blown me away, I think, just generally with the whole indie community, because what we've seen is that every author has been in that position that we've been in, that I'm sure a huge number, I mean, we've got hundreds of thousands of listeners to this podcast now, and we know for a fact that there's obviously a huge number of indie authors in amongst that. And what we found is that everyone's in exactly the same position. You know, this is where I write, in this studio here, and it's a very lonely business as a writer. And and the amount of help that I know that you got from, say, our writing group, because Shannon and we met actually because we're in the same writing group, which is kind of incredible in itself.
Yeah. Small world.
It is a small world. But I think one of the crucial things is that there is this incredible support, and it's almost like we feel that people like you are really paying it forward by sharing all this knowledge that you have, which is just so incredible.
Well, I wish that there had been people at the time when I started that I could have turned to and said, how do I do this? Because it is a lot of learning. I tell people all the time, you know, the best website I ever ran into was Google. You know, you Google everything. How do I query an agent? How do I pitch an agent? How do I do whatever? But it would have been great to be able to sit down and say to someone, how do I do this? Can you help me figure this piece out? And so, yeah, I'm happy to pass it on, because it's not competition. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not, a lot of people say, oh, well, they're your competitors. I'm like, no, they're not. Readers don't read just one author. They read hundreds of authors, thousands of authors in some cases. And if they don't go to somebody else, they're going to, you know, there's always going to be another author they're going to go to. It's not competition. And if anything, it should push the authors that are already in this business to move forward more. Like to you know, for me, when I see an author friend do well, and I've seen a few that are in my genre, they've done exceptionally well. And I go, good for you. Damn it. Now I got a new like level to reach for, right? Yeah. Like, I thought I only needed to go here. Now I need to go 10 steps higher. Yeah. But it's good. It's good because it pushes you. And that's important. You don't want to rest on your laurels, you know?
Well, this is the thing. So much. I want to just look at some of the questions that are coming in, folks.
I've been eyeing one up because I really love it.
Yeah.
Go up a little. It says, come down a little. It says something about me hosting season 2.
Maybe Shannon could host season 2. Everyone's very worried because people have been asking us if there will be a season 2, and we did say we'd need to get a bestseller before we could make that decision. But something happened between this episode that we're doing now and the one about 4 hours ago. If you listen back, and it's all on our Facebook page, so if you go to bestseller, I always get this wrong, facebook.com/bestseller experiment, we've got the reruns. This is the 4th live show today. I said to Mark, we will sit at number 2 between Neil Gaiman at number 1 and Terry Pratchett at number 3, and we were joking about how maybe we could bump Neil off the number 1 spot, and we obviously didn't believe that would happen because it was Good Omens with Terry Pratchett that he co-wrote. It was a massive book, big seller, and literally about an hour after we finished, it happened, and we actually bumped poor Neil off that number 1 spot.
I don't think it hurt his feelings.
No, I don't think he was that bothered actually. But you know, the funniest thing then happened is that I cheekily tweeted him just to say, look, we're not going to hang around for long. We're just here for a few minutes. We'll be off within an hour and you can have your spot back. And then he retweeted that tweet to 2.6 million fans of his on Twitter. And then the whole basically Twitterverse completely exploded. It exploded. I mean, to give you an example of what we saw at this end, our Twitter feed went from around a couple of thousand impressions an hour to over 60,000 impressions.
That's amazing. It's fantastic.
And so if you want to see what happened, it was quite funny. A discussion broke out between Mark on a train, Mr. Stay on a Train, me here, and Neil Gaiman wherever he was. And there is video that we posted up I'm not going to spoil it for you, but go check it out.
It's pretty funny.
It was pretty nuts. Belle has got a question for you, Shannon. She says,
Okay.
what if you're with a trad publisher but want to pull out?
Okay.
Suggestions for getting book rights back.
So I personally have not done this, but I've seen a lot of author friends who've gone through this. So my experience is not firsthand, but I will tell you what they've done and what I've suggested to some authors, even in our own writing group. The first thing you want to do is you write them a letter and you say, I want my rights back. Somewhere within your contract should actually state what point your rights reversions would happen. If that's not satisfactory to you, or if they're being stubborn, your next step is an entertainment lawyer. I mean, realistically, it's a contract. It can be broken. There's probably going to be money involved, either for the lawyer or for buying your rights back, or you have to wait it out. So you have to decide what's worth it to you. A lot of authors that I know who have traditional contracts and wanted their rights back, what they did was they just waited it out. So they continued to write. They published indie, and they didn't promote the traditional books per se, and let them just basically let the sales die down. Because quite often with contracts with a traditional publisher, it's an amount of sales. You know, you have to sell X amount of sales before, or less than X amount of sales before they'll give you the rights back. So they just waited it out. So sometimes that can be 1 year, it can be 2 years, it can be 5 years, it can be 10 years. It just depends. But my suggestion would be keep writing. Don't stop writing. Keep writing your books. Start, keep publishing. If you want to be indie and that's what you're doing, keep publishing. I mean, that's the best thing you can do to keep yourself going in that world.
Fantastic advice. So, Belle, I hope that answered your question. Let's have a look at some of the other things that are coming through. Tammy. Hi, Tammy. Thanks for joining us. I'm all for Shannon hosting, she says. So you're getting votes here.
Some votes
and
here.
Mark isn't here to defend himself right now. Maybe we're going to have
I need an English Shannon is what I need. I need someone in the UK.
The two Shannons.
That's what I think JW suggested.
We could go WWF wrestling, like full on.
Yeah.
Like
the Marks against the Shannons.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I'd be for it.
Excellent. Oh, here's a great question from Darren Love. Darren, actually, winner of our competition that we had. He won the I think it was the Ian Rankin signed. No, it was Laura's book, wasn't it? Signed. And we are going to have, actually, before I forget, we better do this before we run out of time. We are going to have some mega competitions. Okay, we've got. So I'm going to get your question in a minute, Darren. There's just so much going on here. So let me just tell you quickly. Shannon has bought a box of goodies.
I can show you. I can show you if you want. Let me get my little box of goodies. Here we go.
So this is the box of goodies.
It's got 3 books in it, signed by me. Some artwork, some other little goodies, perhaps some Canadian chocolate. For those of you who are not Canadian, you know what I'm talking about. It's the good stuff, the sweet stuff. I have 2 of these. And so if you want to get in on winning one of these 2 boxes, here's the deal. Because Mark is my friend, and I believe strongly in this bestseller experiment and in the book. I want you, the book right now is 99 cents. So wherever you are, if you've bought the book, I want you to email me at shannonmayerauthor@gmail.com. The receipt, you can blank out your personal information. Sorry, I've got a cold. I'm on cold medicine, so I might be a little loopy. But basically, I want to see that you bought the book. And then everybody who bought the book, I'll throw them into a draw, and I'll draw 2 names for these amazing swag boxes. The swag boxes are probably worth about $60 or $70 each.
Wow.
And then I'll ship them to you wherever you are, international. And so all I want to see is a receipt that you've bought the Bestseller Experiments book back to reality, wherever Amazon is your home, whether it's .com or UK or whatever. So, and part of this would be great to see them break into the top 100 in some of the different .com, .uk, .ca. I don't know. Have you broken any of the top 100s yet?
Yeah, we have actually.
Oh, you have? Okay.
We actually. Okay, so we were number 2. We were number 2 on the movers and shakers charts in the UK.
Nice.
We went from position 40,000 to 108, and then we dipped into the 100 in the UK on the whole chart. So that was incredible.
That's awesome. So let's see if they can do it again. So that's all you got to do. Send me a receipt. That's at shannonmayerauthor@gmail.com. And and you can get in on a swag box. It's a goodie swag box. It's lots of good stuff.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much for
Oh,
bringing
you're
that.
welcome. Happy to do it.
So that's Shannon's competition, and we'll run that for. Should we run that until the end of the week?
Let's give them 24 hours.
24 hours.
24 hours. So this time, what is it? We'll say 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. Okay, excellent.
24 hours. So that is the first incredible gift that Shannon's bought for you guys. There is Mark has left me with 2 other great books to give away, and we're going to do what we did last time. So if you remember how this worked, we've got a signed hard copy of Michael Connolly's The Crossing. It's a first edition hardback, and it's signed by Michael Connolly. 70 million sales. You're catching up on him pretty rapidly, aren't you? Right? I jest, but
I wish.
yeah, maybe, but maybe one day, right?
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day, right? Michael, watch out. And we've also got a signed hardback copy, first edition of Kate Moss's Citadel. Okay. And we've got 2 questions. Now, I'm going to do what we did last time. So the way this works is we are going to let you know the questions now, but we're going to come back to the 2 competitions at the end of the show. And it's the first person to type in the answer that wins. Okay. So you've got to stick with us, guys. It's a speed typing thing. So to win the Michael Connolly book, the question is, and don't type it in. Don't type. Someone
Don't
did
give
this.
Everyone else the
Somebody
idea.
typed in the answer this morning. It was like, no, don't type it in the window until we say, and it's going to be later on. The question is, it's about the book Back to Reality, and we want to know, what song does Jo end her karaoke night with? Okay, what song does Jo end her karaoke night with? And to win the Kate Moss book, the question is, what TV show is Nick watching when Jo returns home drunk? Mark came up with these questions, so as you can probably tell. So don't put the answers in now. We'll and actually, like I said before, remind us if we forget, because there's tons of questions coming in, and I am so knackered. That's a UK word. It's not a swear word. It just means kind of completely finished, because I started to get the shakes, which is like lack of sleep. This is actually reminds me, Shannon, when I was about 18, I used to have to book.
This is called a tangent, people.
Yeah, I used to have to book a studio at night, because it was the only time we could afford to use this studio, when no one else would be crazy enough to use it. And we used to do an all through the night recording session, and I had that feeling of like the birds tweeting at 6 in the morning, and I just start to get the shakes. But
yeah.
Oh, anyway, let's have a look. I'm freaking out, says JW Atkinson. What's your address again, Shannon?
Oh, Shannon Mayer author @gmail.com. You can also use my website to get there, www.shannonmayer.com. The contact form there, it goes to that email, so you can, either one of those would be fine.
Great. We'll actually post it up in the links box.
I say like I'm gonna do it, but yeah, he's gonna do
I'll do it. So let's have a look. JW Atkinson has asked a couple more questions. We've heard about your godlike writing ability, says JW Atkinson, but can you talk about your editing process? How long have we got? Got a couple of hours?
No, we've got some time. I'll make it quick. It's actually timing that you should ask that question, because normally my editing process is pretty straightforward. I have 2 rounds of developmental edits with my developmental editor, unless there's an issue, and then I'll do a 3rd round with her. Then I have a copy editor go through it. And then I have a proofreader go through it. And then I send it to my ARC team, which is my advanced reading copy ARC team. And they pick up any little last minute typos and this sort of thing. Now, that sounds very clear cut, but the developmental edits are the toughest part, because that's where you're going to get your plot issues or your character motivation wrong, or, whatever major issues that you've come into. So this last book that I was working on, just to give you an idea, I was at about, I guess I was at about 90,000 words, which that's a big book for me. Normally I do like 70, 75. So it was 90,000 words. I figured there's probably about 10,000 words left, and I couldn't for the life of me get it. Like I couldn't pull it together. And I thought, oh, this is bad. So I went back. So this is part of my editing process. I went back, started reading it. And as I was reading it, editing it on my own. And I got to about 30,000 word mark and went, oh, shit. And realized that the motivation I had for the main character was wrong.
Oh, no.
Was wrong for the next 60,000 words. So what I did was I was like, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this. So anyways, I just basically, a lot of the scenes I could use, but I had to turn them around. I had to change her motivation. And I'm super happy with the book now, but I had to do a lot more work on it. I had done a couple extra read-throughs that I normally wouldn't have to do. Mm-hmm. But for me, it was a big book and I want to make sure it was right. And so even though it was horrible to have to do this in a sense, like it was like, oh my God, because I didn't want to lose all 60,000 words. That's at least 3 days of writing. But that I'm kidding. It's more than that. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Mark's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm winking at you. That's a joke.
It's like about 4 years work for me.
But no, for sure. It's the editing process is generally pretty quick for me, but it's also because I'm used to the process. What I've learned from this experience was this particular book I started back in July, and then I got eye surgery and family stuff and all these things. So I don't do well when I give myself more than 3 or 4 weeks in a book. So I have to, when I'm writing the book, I have to write it, just let it flow out as fast as it'll go. And that's partly why I write as fast as I do. If I don't do that, it screws up. Like I start forgetting, why did that person do that? Or where are we? Or what happened? So, so that's, for me, that's my editing process is actually part of the writing.
So it's almost like once you kind of unscrewed the unscrewed the cap.
Yes.
And you start pouring, you've just got to keep going until that bottle's empty and then you finish the book.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really interesting because when we first interviewed you, Shannon, probably 10, 11 months ago, we were just at the beginning of this process of writing. Honestly, I do not know how you do it because we've got to the end of the year having written the one book. I mean, yeah, okay, we've done this podcast and we've had other jobs to do, but how you write a book a month on average is utterly insane. I mean, I don't know if is there anyone else out there so that you are not an anomaly then? In the nicest way.
No, I'm not. I have so 3 of my closest author friends. I'll give them shout outs because they're amazing authors. And I think every year them. Denise Grover Swank, KF Breen, and Christine Bell, who also goes by Chloe Cole as her pen name. They also write like that. And we've had this discussion about the reason the books come out as fast as they do is that it's like you say, it's actually different than it's actually turning on a faucet. You turn the faucet on, the faucet runs and fills the bucket. And you write, and it might be dirty water in there, but you can filter it and you can clean it. Once the words are there, you can edit them. But if they don't come out, you got nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So and that's just 3 of my friends, right? It's not unknown to have these indie authors writing a book every month or every, like, depending on the length. I know one author, Eve Langelet, she's Canadian as well. She's out east. She writes a book in about 2 weeks. So, I mean,
I'm shaking. If you're listening to this on the podcast later and it's just audio, I am shaking my head right now. Well, that's incredible.
Yeah.
But the fact that you see, I always use that story of like the 4-minute mile. Was it the 3-minute mile? I forget, where it takes somebody to show it's possible before other people can believe in themselves that it's possible. And in some ways, what you achieved inspired us to do this podcast and to write this book and go for it. Like, not just kind of stick it up there and think, oh, we published a book. It wasn't called the publishing experiment. So, and when you put your mind on something, it happens. I mean, Mark's learned that, because I said, and I did, like, honestly, go back to the beginning, the first episodes. I was like, we can do this, we can get a bestseller. And here we are today, and it happened.
Yeah.
And this is it's no coincidence. I think you've got to believe. And I know that you've said to me before as well, you always believed that it was possible. And that's almost the most important decision you have to make, isn't it? To believe in yourself.
I think so. And I think the willingness to, not just to believe in yourself, but the willingness to learn. And to recognize, like I say, like I did a big screw up with this last book and the edits in it. And the willingness to be, I guess, humble is maybe the right word, to be like, okay, I'm not always a great author. Sometimes I screw up. And so I need to go back to the basics and figure out why this isn't working. I know authors who've got more books out than I do and make far less money but they are in, like, it's the hamster in the wheel, right? They churn out the same kind of books all the time. They don't understand why they don't get good reviews, and I'm like, if they're not willing to get off that wheel and kind of look around and go, okay, well, why is this not working? You're not going to move forward. I hope for myself that every book I write is better, stronger, cleaner, has better twists in it. Like I want to be a better writer every time, and so I put that effort into it. And I think that's the other aspect of it. If you read some of my earlier stuff and compare it, and I've had reviewers do this, like, I went back and read some of your stuff from 2011. I'm like, oh God, like really, you probably should have started there and moved forward chronologically,
right?
Because of course it's weaker.
Could have grown with
it's still a great story, but maybe my word usage wasn't as good, or my, whatever. And so it's definitely,
That's brilliant. Let's go and have a look at what's happening. I've just seen J.W. Atkinson says, Shannon, you now have my Amazon password to my account.
Excellent.
Isn't that good?
Nice.
He's rapidly trying to change it.
I won't use it, I promise.
This is brilliant. When competitions go wrong, right? It's fantastic.
All of a sudden the author is raking in the dough.
Adahan 1. Hi, Adahan. You say, I'm horrible at time management, it seems. I need to drill it into myself. And that's huge, isn't it? I think time management, it's very easy. Like today, I have been all over the place because there's been so much stuff happening on Twitter, on Facebook. I've had to get these specific things done, which I haven't managed to get done because I'm spread and it's been a manic day. But I know a lot of people, they get distracted. Absolutely. How do you, what's your secret for keeping focus? When you sit down and say, and you have a young boy as well. Like this is a kind of a young mum here who's it's like the J.K. Rowling story all over again. These babe in arms almost, but well, hey, that's
maybe
one day, right? But maybe you could be the indie J.K. Rowling version.
How do I do it? Let me see. So a big part of it is having a good support network when you have children. So I've got really good daycare, and my mom lives next door, and my husband is able to take time where he needs to. So that really, I'm still working 7 days a week, but it's a much shortened, condensed version. But the big thing I would say is that you need to look at your day and say, okay, where am I wasting time? Where are you sitting? So I'll use my husband example because he'll probably never hear this and he'll never see it. So it's fairly safe. He's not technologically savvy, but he works all day. He works hard. But he gets up in the morning, maybe 8 o'clock, and he'll watch the news and whatever till 10:30ish. Then he goes off and he does his chores, whatever, does his thing on the farm. And then he's home by, let's say, 6 or so on a kind of an average day. And then he'll watch TV from 6 until 10. And he showers and then he watches TV till 11. So, you were looking at like 5 hours a day, let's say, on average, that is spent in front of the TV. This is just a really classic example. So if you look at like your TV usage or watchage, is that a word? Watchage? It is now. He's looking at, in 7 days, 35 hours, which is almost a full-time job watching TV. And
that's like one book for you, isn't it?
Not quite, but close. Yeah. I actually figured out the other day, I was looking at like how many words per hour and how many hours it would take me. But anyways, that's a whole other discussion. But my point is simply that if you look at the things that you do every day and where you can reasonably cut time, it's usually not that hard, whether it's Facebook or books or, I got the door knocking.
Oh, yeah. Do you ever see that BBC, that viral video of that guy on the BBC when his little daughter comes knocking on, comes in through the door? I think everyone's seen it. We've just had one of those moments. Yeah. Off camera, fortunately, but that was my youngest. Yeah, that was kind of interesting. We're gonna get. Well, hang on. Let's focus back in, because Adahan's asked. Social media is my distraction. Trying to make my presence grow. So that is actually a real challenge, isn't it? You want to grow your presence, but at the same time, you don't want to spend your life on social media.
So you just have to say X amount of time for this, X amount of time for that. We got more people.
Yeah, we've got a charade of people.
Uh-oh.
I think it's all breaking out. This is the reverse of what happened to Mark's day. If you missed the very first episode this morning at 10 a.m. in London, he had a room full of people. And I think it's just about to happen. People are coming in. Oh my gosh, brace yourselves. Come on in, guys. Here we go. Oh, check it out. This is my beautiful wife, Jenny. And
I am his kid.
look at this. Oh my goodness. Hi guys, come on in, come on in. This is, now if you've seen, okay, if you've seen the book, there we go. And this, whoa! This is the official Back to Reality cake with cow pats. Can you see that? Can I pick one of those up? Can I actually have a bit of that? I'm going to try it out. Oh, that is awesome.
Ew.
So Mark started off with the caterpillar cake, and we have the cow cake to finish off with. This is awesome. Thank you so much. Look at these. Everyone's boozing. Look at this.
Okay.
Let's have a look. There's actual booze happening. It's all breaking out here. We didn't actually plan this because we didn't want to assume that we would actually get a bestseller today.
You have this. This one's yours.
And is that mine? Oh my gosh, thank you very much. We didn't want to assume that we were going to get a bestseller because that would be a little bit presumptuous. But this was organised about 2 hours ago, including this cake. This is Shannon, fellow writer. You're all, by the way, you're all live on the internet right now. I hope you've signed your disclaimer forms.
We have
No, there'll be no swearing. Somebody's heart monitor's just going off. The cow cake. So Kelly, thank you very much. This is insane. Right, what I'm going to ask, guys, is would you be able to take this cake, because this cake almost fell on the computer, and that would actually stop the. Would you guys like to cut that cake up in the house, and we'll finish up and join you in a few minutes? And this is another, by the way, this is another lady. What, Shannon? Promote your blog quickly. It's got the most inventive name I think I've ever heard. Here we go.
I can't. My children have to leave.
Oh, okay. It's
Can you
this.
guys leave? Any other
Okay,
children
kids out the room.
It's this shit is bullshit.
Yeah.
.com.
This is bullshit. It's very, very funny.
Pardon me.
It's much funnier than our book. Now, Shannon, could I actually, Sharon, could I ask you to take that? Thank you very much. And this is Juliet, an author in the making. So keep your eyes out for her. Thank you, guys. We'll see. Oh, do you want to take that with you as well? Oh my gosh, here we go. We'll do a swaps. Here we go. I think that's for you.
I think there is.
Yes, there is. I don't even know, Shannon. I don't even know. You don't even drink, do you? You don't drink. Sorry, you can just.
It's pitiful.
Here we go. Look, ready?
Yeah, chink. There you go.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, listen. If you're watching this and you've been following this podcast for the last 52 weeks, I'd like you. You have my permission to get your drink of choice, water, Starbucks, anything you like. Maybe something a bit stronger, and have a drink on writers tonight. I want to toast you guys for being with us on this journey tonight, because it has been an incredible journey. I've said this so many times that without you we would not have got to this point, and especially today, having got this book into the charts, getting its #1, getting it as a bestseller. We were inspired by Shannon. I really hope that we've inspired you today to show you what's possible, and it starts with a dream. It starts with saying, let's do this, let's make it happen. Believe, no matter how crazy it is, believe that you can do it. And honestly, I'm just blown away. We actually got the I don't know if we can bring it up. We actually got the flag today. You know, the little orange bestseller flag. I can't find it. No, I'm not going to bring it up. But we one of our in fact, it was Julie. Thank you so much, Julie. She emailed us she actually found the little bestseller flag on Amazon, and that for me was like, that was the official thing. Yeah, like it's like you can never get that taken away. It is. It's the one.
It's like, I'm a #1 bestseller.
Excellent. And Alex says cheers. Thanks, Tammy. Cheers and congratulations. Here's to your writing success, Tammy and Alex. Absolutely. And JW Atkinson, Adahan, everyone who's with us today. You know, this can happen. This is not a pipe dream. You just have to start by believing. You have to do what Shannon told us, which was to write every day. And honestly, I'm still trying hard to do that.
It is hard.
Mark's got it. Yeah. In fact, Mark won't mind me telling this, but when he couldn't log on to the Scrivener file, I used to get the training. He didn't have Wi-Fi. If I was in the Scrivener file, and he couldn't log into it, he would go completely nuts. It's like a religion to him to write every day and to do that, and to see his dedication, to see your dedication, kind of shows me what it takes to kind of get there. So it's incredible.
That's good.
JW Axon says spray mark with a bottle.
I don't have the bottle, but it's a good idea.
It's kind of cool, actually, the old Formula One thing. Adahan says the courage of writing, and that is true. You know, I think a lot of people give writers, people who've never written before, especially if they've maybe got a partner who wants to write and has an aspiration to write, if they don't get it, if you're one of those people, you probably know what I'm talking about. I've had the most incredible support from everyone here. My wife, who honestly, if she hadn't given me the time to write, we wouldn't have had this book done or this podcast at all. And I know you've got huge amounts of support, Shannon, as well. So, but if you don't, we know that it can be a real challenge. And having gone through this process of being the guy that never finished a book, 20 books, never finished them. I have the utmost respect, and all I say is keep pushing, keep doing it. Adahan says, my hubby so doesn't get it. And I don't think you're alone. Do you have any words of inspiration for Adahan and others?
A lot of spouses don't understand how this works, this industry. They think that it's either a hobby or it's something that is never going to make money, or any number of reasons. Even my own spouse, as supportive as he could be a real dick sometimes. And I say this with the most love I can, because he would hound me. He'd say, have you written today? Have you written today? Have you written today? This is back in the beginning I started, to the point that I would resent it. I would be like, you don't understand. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still ruminating the ideas. I was still trying to figure out my own process. And so when you have a spouse that doesn't understand, you have my utmost sympathy. I have friends who their family kind of puts them down for it. My suggestion is this. Honestly, I would do it quietly, privately. And then when you make your first $1,000 or $10,000, you can wave that check in their face and say, boom. Because sometimes that's actually the best way to do it, because you don't want that negative. You don't need that negative. And really, you're not doing anything wrong. You're following your passion. You're pursuing a career. And those things are important. And if they can't see it, then you have to show them. And the only way to show them is to do it, and use that as a spur to push you forward. You know, use that as a prod to say, you know what, I'm going to show them that I can do this. I can make money at this, whatever success is to you, I can publish. And that's my advice, is just to keep doing it, but just to do it. You don't have to tell them. That's really all it comes down to. That's
brilliant advice. And in some ways, there's a goal for everyone, I think, it's not just about setting, maybe, you know, I mean, getting a bestseller, obviously this has been a bit of a crazy ride, but, you know, there's longer term goals. There's the goals about earning your first dollar for some people. And I think the idea of maybe setting a target of an amount of money that you can secretly earn without your other half knowing it. And then one day, like, what would that amount be? What would make their jaw drop onto the ground? Set that amount, and then one day walk in and show them the statement, say, this is what I've been doing.
I think like my first big moment where he really got that I was going to be able to do this as a career. There's two things. One, I told him, I said, you watch, in 2 years, I'm going to pay off our mortgage. And he was, oh yeah, dear. Oh yeah. And I did. And then the second one was that this was actually kind of the reverse. That was the second thing that happened. But the first thing that happened was I had about $15,000 in my book account. Just I had been accumulating, right, over 6 months or so. And I'm like, see, even if that's all I make, even if I make $15,000 every 6 months, that is worth it to me, because that's $30,000 a year, and that I can cut my other job down, you know, like I could give myself more time. I understood the process of it. So I just keep at it, and you show them.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people here agreeing with what you say there. I don't know, JW Atkinson says, I don't know where I'd be today if I hadn't started listening. I'd be a different person. That is so incredibly beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Belle Dean says, my husband is super supportive, but he sees it as a hobby. He gives me time to write, but I don't think he thinks it's serious. And that's for you to prove otherwise, which is just great. JW Atkinson again, thank you so much, Shannon. Adahan, this is great. Everyone's kind of helping each other. This is
Yeah.
a big support group and a big loving.
Absolutely.
One of the things, I mean, would you? I don't know. I really should have asked you before, but do you share how many books you've sold, like in terms of total books to inspire the authors? Or not really.
I think I've sold something like it's over 1.5 million copies, right? And that includes ebook and paperback. That's not free downloads. That's sales.
Yeah.
So, and that's over a period of a few years.
A few years, and it's just incredible. Like,
it's been good. I mean, it's been a crazy ride. I want to acknowledge Adahan because she said, can you scroll back up a little here?
Absolutely.
She said the money issue. She says she could never write in secret because of her husband, because of the money issue. I'm not sure if you mean the cost of the money, or the cost of the money, the cost of like editing and stuff. If that's what you mean, my advice would be to put together a small group of other like-minded writers and help critique each other, help edit each other. You're not the only one who's going to struggle with starting out finding the money for editing. And if it's the other side of it, in terms of money coming in, I'm not suggesting you hide the money from your spouse that comes in. I'm suggesting you be able to at some point share that with them, and just really, in terms of the money going out, there are ways to do this without a huge amount of cost. So write the books. Don't worry about the other stuff until you're closer to finishing your books, and then you can find those places to find the support, whether it's the podcast here or other authors you meet up with. But just don't give up. Don't give up. Don't let his disbelief or anyone's disbelief allow you to give up, because that means they win.
Yeah.
And that's not cool.
Yeah. And actually, the other thing is, I think a lot of people really do want to see you succeed. It's not that they don't want to see you succeed. It's just that they worry about failure. I think that's the big thing I've noticed. People who really have had or haven't recovered from a big failure in their life worry for other people who put a huge amount of commitment and time into something, because they might fail at it, and they don't want people to go through what they went through. So there's often always a story behind why people react in the way they react. It's not often because they don't believe in you. It's maybe they don't believe in themselves. Maybe they might be scared that if you succeed, they're going to have to step up their game.
Absolutely.
Right?
There's all sorts of reasons why, and you'll never know unless they tell you. So again, I would just go back to finding your tribe, your writer tribe, whoever that is. My three closest author friends, one lives in Missouri, one lives in California, and one lives out on the East Coast. I mean, they couldn't be further apart geographically from me, but they are probably the people I trust the most with everything when it comes to writing. You find those people, you surround yourself with them, and you will see that you have the support you need to go forward to whatever level of success it is that you are going to aim for.
And one thing that's inspired me, you probably wouldn't consider yourself a household name, would you?
No.
In terms, this is the thing.
No.
But Shannon, we were on a writing retreat recently up in the mountains, and we were looking at Shannon's kind of author ranking, and Shannon was actually outselling and ranking higher than Stephen King at one point. You were close to J.K. Rowling. Sorry, I'm embarrassing you now, but I want you to. You don't have to be like a household name to sell over 1 million books, and to be sometimes outselling some of these. I mean, people that we think of as these mega authors. And remember, when you're an indie author, you are taking the lion's share of the money, which is brilliant. We have got more people coming in. Oh my gosh, come on in, bro. This is my friend Art. Thank you, dude. Hey, you're live on the internet, my man. So this is Art, one of my excellent, very bestest friends. Look at this.
Nice.
This is. I'm going to be going to sleep. I haven't slept.
Congratulations! So exciting.
Thank you so much. This is Britt. This is Shannon.
Hi, Shannon.
And this is the internet. This is the internet. I think we have a party kicking off on a school night, which is very dangerous from what I've heard.
Well, it can be very dangerous.
It's called the sick day.
Absolutely.
All right.
Nice to see you guys in a bit. Oh my goodness me, we're getting sucked out of the studio. This is brilliant. Oh, and look there. This we've got a slight delay, so we can watch what just happened on there. That's brilliant.
It's kind of like,
Belle says, "Hi friends. Adahan, Shannon is a rock star. She certainly
thank
is.
you,
And that's a
Adahan.
nice time with the book." And on that note, Shannon, just run over your competition for people that have just shown up late.
So for those of you who've shown up late, I'm gonna do a little competition. I have 2 of these boxes of goodies. There's 3. I dropped that on the glass.
There's only one now.
There's 3 signed books in each box, some signed artwork, and some other goodies in there, maybe some Canadian chocolate. And all you have to do to get in to enter for that, I've got 2 boxes, is buy a copy of Back to Reality on whichever Amazon site you like, and send me an email receipt at shannonmayerauthor@gmail.com, or you can go to www.shannonmayer.com and use the contact form there.
We've got some more people. You know you're live on the internet, girls. Come on in. We've got some more. This is Elise and her sisters. Say hi to the internet, everyone. Hello. We've got people watching right now. They've come now. Isn't it a school night tonight, girls? Shouldn't you be? This is a bit rude of us, isn't it? Inviting them from around the school. But thank you so much for coming. We're going to come in just a minute. Thank you very much. See you in a bit. Oh my goodness me! I honestly, how many people? It's like one of these. It's like if you've read the bit in the book about the tent, I'll say no more. That's what it feels like right now. Patrick, thank you so much for joining us, Patrick. Another inspiring guy. In fact, Patrick has an incredible story. He actually appeared on the Dr. Oz show.
Oh, wow.
Well, just go and check out Patrick Mathieu's Mathieu and go and read his story. If you want to be inspired by a guy, this is a guy that doctors said wouldn't live beyond 2.
Wow.
And he's now in his 40s, and he had a best-selling book and was on Dr. Oz with it. So thank you for joining us, Patrick. It's so good to see you. So good to see you. Now, we've got some other stuff to do, haven't we?
We've got to do the giveaways.
We've got to do giveaways. So, okay. I'm just going to let everyone have this question again, and we're going to find this spreadsheet, which has gone somewhere. Here it is. So what we want to give away is we've got a signed copy of Michael Connolly's The Crossing. It's hardback, first edition. Brilliant book. And the question is, and it's the first person to write this in the chat window. This is a really cruel way of doing it. We did this before, and it's so bad when you see.
But it's so much fun.
It is so much fun. Yes, we're evil. We've got to have conflict, right? You taught me that. You've got to have conflict.
You've got to have conflict.
Okay, so ready to type in. What song does Jo end her karaoke night with? Let's go. We're going to do a little drum roll. Of course, there's a little bit of delay, so we can keep chatting.
So we can
bit. Yeah.
Okay. So
Patrick says he's blushing. Kelly says hi, girls. J.W. Atkinson says great advice. Stairway to Heaven, Alex Ebenstein. We have a winner. Congratulations, Alex. Well done.
Nice.
So, Alex, you need to email us at bestsellerexperiment@gmail.com with your address. And we joked earlier that everyone's going to start faking that they're Alex and sending them their address. But send us your email, and we'll get that in the post to you first thing tomorrow morning, or when the hangover is cured. That could be a few days. Okay, and I'm sorry, Belle, you're a little bit late with the answer there, but we've got another question coming up now. We're now giving away the hardback copy of Kate Moss's Citadel. Do you know Kate Moss? She was one of the first, or one of only 6 women in the UK to sell 1 million copies of one book.
Wow.
Female authors.
Yeah.
Another one was J.K. Rowling.
Of course.
You heard of her? She's
Sounds
up
familiar.
and coming.
Familiar.
And another guest that we had, I think the episode before you, Joanne Harris.
Yes. Oh, Harris.
Who actually, Joanne Harris wrote Chocolat, which was a big film.
Yes.
So this is a book. I don't think this was the book. She wrote Labyrinth, didn't she, Kate Moss? That was the 1 million seller.
Yes, I think so.
Absolutely huge.
Yeah.
So we want to know. Here we go, Beldine, the lag monster strikes again. So in the window, once I've read the question out, what TV show is Nick watching when Jo returns home drunk? What TV show is Nick watching when Jo returns home drunk? And we're going to see who gets the answer. This is actually quite unfair to our North American authors and viewers. And Bake Off. It's Darren Love. Darren Love, you are fast on the trigger. Were you one of those kids that when you were a kid used to ring up and you used to win all of the radio competitions?
I hated those kids.
I know. Darren, you have just won a copy of Citadel by Kate Moss. Congratulations. And thank you for everyone else. Bake Off, by the way, is the biggest show in Britain.
We all love it
And
here too.
I'm completely addicted to it.
A lot of my US author friends, like Denise Grover Swank, she loves it. She's like, I'm addicted to it. I love it.
Then they don't have like a US version yet,
Not
or
yet.
a Canadian. Oh,
I'm
they
sure
will.
they will.
That's coming.
It's coming.
Bake Off. Excellent stuff. So we're almost done. We're almost time to wrap up. This is so incredible. I am running on fumes, adrenaline fumes right now, and I'm expected to now go and drink this and pop this. This is for Mark's stay as well. Mark, you're not here with us, but I know you'll be watching this tomorrow morning. Honestly, there's a lot of people I couldn't do without, but especially getting this book done, you've been inspiration throughout this whole process. Your dedication, utterly incredible. And there's one other person I'd like to bring in, and this is the man behind the scenes. If you look down on the, I don't know if you can see it on the bottom right, we've got a chap with a rather fetching moustache here, and I'm going to just grab my headset to see if I can hear Dave. Dave, can you hear me?
Are you there, Mark?
Hey, Dave. We have Dave live. Dave is coming to us live from near Washington. Is that right?
I think you have to.
Yeah, near Seattle, Washington.
Excellent.
And it's good to finally meet you, Shannon. And Mark, congratulations. I have to get a hold of Mark Stay as well and congratulate him too. What a great accomplishment to hit bestseller just as you set your goals to, and you went ahead and achieved it. It's fantastic.
I can't hear any of this.
Can you hear me?
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Dave. But I want to say to you, Dave, a huge thank you. People on our Facebook page will know that Dave became our podcast editor when it all just came a bit too much for us. It's kind of like he showed up like a knight in shining armor. And Dave is the reason why we get a podcast live every Monday morning at 6 a.m. British time. There came a point where I was just completely snowed under, and I thought I either have to do the podcast to write this book. And Dave came and helped us out. And Dave, honestly, without you, this wouldn't have happened. Probably the book, Mark and I probably would have had a severance package at some point during the year. So please show your love for Dave. Yay for Dave, says Kelly. Bell, hurrah for Dave. Thank you for all your hard work on the podcast. Batjutsu says thanks again to Dave. So thank you for all your kind wishes. And Dave, just know that you're very appreciated. You've always been in the background. It's great to bring you out to the forefront today and hear your voice on the bestseller experiment, which is brilliant.
Excellent. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. It's good working with you on this. Good
stuff. Thank you again, Dave. And so that just leaves us really with I think we've got everything covered. We've got Shannon's book competition. Send your receipt of your copy of Back to Reality. Is that the name of the book? I can't. Yeah, it's the name of the book, isn't it? I
think so.
If you haven't bought your copy yet, you've got 24 hours to get it before Shannon's competition ends. It's bestseller experiment / Back to Reality. I did say that you can watch me slowly dissolve live on YouTube, and it is currently happening right now. This is the official car crash, folks. And one more time, Shannon, the email address to send that receipt to win the prize.
ShannonMayerAuthor@gmail.com, or you can go to my website, www.shannonmayer.com, and you can always use the contact form there if you're not sure.
Brilliant stuff. More love coming in for Dave there on the messages. Tammy says, thanks, Dave. Darren Love says, awesome work, Dave. No, man, Dave's not here, man. Oh, sorry. Yeah. And but anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. If you're listening to this podcast on audio in the future, you can re-listen to this if you want to see all the mania, that moment with the cow. I think we might have to get that cake brought in slow motion, possibly. And
that almost tipped,
almost falling on my keyboard. That probably would have cut us off from the internet. It'll be on Facebook fairly soon, within an hour or two. It'll be on our website. And we'll also be putting it out as a podcast in the future.
Awesome.
So that just leaves me to say thank you very much, Shannon, for joining me today, taking time out this evening to join in this crazy ride. Thank you for all your inspiration, all the incredible advice again tonight. Honestly, there's a whole nother episode's worth there that I want to cover. And keep inspiring us with what you do.
I'll try.
It's
I'll do my
absolutely
best.
brilliant. So thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for buying the book today. This has been one of the most incredible days of our lives, bar none. And I wanted to say thank you as well for everyone who's given us the most incredible reviews. This has been such a
Great reviews.
yeah, unbelievable.
Really great reviews.
And for everyone in our launch team, again, we love you guys. Thank you so much for all of your help in the last couple of weeks. I mean, honestly, you have gone so far above and beyond, from typos to helping us with the cover, to checking chart positions today. Unbelievable. You guys deserve your own bestseller experiment medal. And all I'll say, folks, is watch this space. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen next week, but keep tuned, and we'll let you know soon. So thank you, Shannon.
Thanks very much, Mark. Congratulations.
Woo!
Well done.
And cheers to you guys. Have a great one tonight. And it's back on Word docs or Scrivener tomorrow. Okay, no slacking, because I'll definitely be doing my 1,000 words at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning.
That's right. Get on it.
Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. All right, take care, guys. All the best. And it's a goodbye from Mark 1, and it's a goodbye from
Shannon.
Shannon 1.
Shannon 1.
Shannon 1.
That's right.
Take care, guys. All the best. Bye.
Bye.